Hello, fellow humans. Roni and Eric here, and this is In the Desert podcast.
Yeah, howdy everybody. And we're talking about the Israelites and their wandering in the desert. They've just left Egypt a month ago at the Passover, and we discussed earlier about what they kind of knew, what's their identity. And now we're going to take it one little step further as they've crossed the sea that parted for them, and they're camped in the wilderness of Sin.
Yes, and last time we talked about how they want meat and they're whining and they're not satisfied. And we asked you, our listeners, what are you missing in your life? What are you not pleased with? And where is your focus? Are you focused on what you have, or do you focus on what you don't have?
Right.
Just something to think about. But today, they begin to receive some laws, some very obvious, nothing to...
Let's say instruction instead of law, because it's not actually a law yet.
Okay.
You'll hear it. It's more of an instruction.
Okay. So what's going to happen?
We are in the book of Shemot, Exodus. Shemot in the Hebrew means names, but in the rest of the world we call it Exodus, going out. And in reply to them wanting meat, because they're kind of tired of their diet, God speaks to Moses and says, I've heard the grumblings of the Israelites. Speak to them and say, by evening you shall eat flesh, and in the morning you shall have your fill of bread, and you shall know that I, the Lord, am your God. So, not only are they going to get meat, which is what they asked for, they're going to even get bread, as opposed to the bread they brought out with them from Egypt. And they're going to know that Yehovah is their God. And so we wonder, how are they going to know?
Well, it's another miracle that happens. They're going to wake up in the morning, early in the morning, and there will be a sort of bread on the ground, right? The man, or manna, as you say in English. I think it's amazing to see all those miracles that God keep showing himself through. And
it's been a few months of miracles.
Yeah, just miracle after miracle. And I can't help not thinking the emotion around it and how it feels to witness this kind of thing. And then on the other hand, it seems that for the Israelites, it's kind of taken for granted sometimes.
Well, sure, it must be weird for them. All of them have grown up in slavery, where you can't do what you want. You got to go to the work that you're told to do. You don't even get to pick your job, probably. And now for a month or so, month and a half, they haven't been going to work. They're on one big camping trip. It's kind of wandering with a purpose, with a goal. They know that they're going to the mountain of God, wherever that is. It doesn't seem like Moses has told them. And so this whole, just that, not having to get up and go to work and having the Egyptians around you telling you what to do, that must be a real trip for them.
Maybe that's why they're having a hard time to listen to God's orders in the future too. Well, mostly in the future, because they're kind of tired of being told what to do after years of slavery. Just a thought.
Okay. So, God has spoken to Moshe, and in the evening, quail appeared, little birds, and covered the camp. And in the morning, there was a fall of dew all over the camp. Morning dew. And when the dew lifted, on the surface of the desert was a fine flaky substance, as fine as frost on the ground. Ah, they know about frost. We think of it always being hot and stuff, but if you've ever been into the Middle East, you know that in wintertime it can get pretty chilly.
Yes,
everywhere.
Especially in the desert, it gets really cold at night.
Yeah, there's nothing to keep the heat, really. And so, wow, I never thought about that. They actually know what frost is.
I want to see what's the word in Hebrew there
Okay.
for
Good idea.
frost. Because sometimes.
And so, it's really neat to have a native Hebrew speaker here to look up the words. And so, they get bird meat, food from the skies, food from heaven. And they're also getting this manna. Okay, what's the word for frost?
Well, it's a kfor.
Kfo.
Kfor is something. It's a sensation of freezing. These days, when we use the word kfor in Hebrew, we say, "Ooh, what a kfor! How freezing!"
What a chill.
Yes. No. How
Oh,
freezing.
freezing.
It's freezing. Basically,
Okay.
so yeah. Frost. Yeah. I think it fits.
Okay, so it looks like the sensation of freezing.
And in Hebrew, it says it's thin. It's have
Like scaly,
scaly.
flaky. Okay.
Yeah, thin, flaky, scaly, thin.
Kind of like
And
frosted flakes.
Thing
cereal.
as kfor. Okay, but this is not a Hebrew lesson, but it's cool to see the Hebrew. I really love.
Manna is frosted flakes.
Yes.
Ooh, they're
Thin.
great.
Thin frosted flakes.
Thin frosted flakes. Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, and the name is also explained here, where they get the name.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what is man? It comes from ma, which means what.
Okay.
So basically, they're saying what, because they were looking at it. It says here, and they're saying, "What is it?" They don't know what it is.
All right. It says. Oh, right. Manhu ki lo yad'u mahu. Okay. Yeah. Ma is what, and yeah, it's man. Yeah. Oh, wow. I never noticed it. I mean, we learned that at school, but we didn't get these little important details.
Yeah, basically, they're eating what for 40 years.
Yeah.
It's like your parents tell you. You ask them, "What is it?" And they say, "Shut up and eat."
and this in this thin frosty thing is filling and nourishing as bread.
Yeah.
As bread, as food, as something you will eat throughout the day. That's amazing.
And it's sweet.
Right. Okay. What else do they get with this with the manna?
So they get told that this is what they're going to eat. This is their bread, and they're going to go out every morning, 6 days a week, and they're going to pick it and collect it, and they're going to collect an omer each, and it's kind of a miracle food because. If you gather up a whole bunch of it, and the guy next to you is he only gathers a little bit. When you divide it up, everybody has exactly what they're supposed to eat. Okay, so they were going to go out 6 days a week and gather it up. On the seventh day, you're not going to find any of it. So you gather in twice as much on the sixth day.
Okay, so these are the instructions.
Yeah, for gathering the man, the
Okay.
manna.
So we're talking Shabbat here. We're talking the Sabbath.
Yeah, and so Moses tells the people, this is what the Lord meant. Tomorrow is a day of rest, a holy Sabbath. Bake what you want to bake, and cook what you want to cook, and everything that is left over you shall put aside until morning. So there you see what the laws for cooking on the Sabbath. You do it beforehand. You leave the food in the pot, for example, on the stove, and it's not going to go bad. You can eat it for breakfast the next morning. So I guess you want to pick your menu to whatever.
Okay, so with the manna, with the man, or with the what, the Israelites are getting instructions about the Sabbath, which is extremely important in the Torah of God, in the Torah of Moshe. And this is, it seems like a layer of explanation about the Sabbath, which is not a law yet because they haven't gone to the mountain and haven't got the 10 Commandments yet, and haven't got all of God's laws, but they already supposed to keep the Sabbath, make it a day of rest.
This is the first time the Sabbath is mentioned since the creation.
Yes.
Now, if they heard the story of creation through their forefather Abraham to his son Yitzchak to Yaakov, Jacob tells his 12 sons, and it filters down. Even though you're in slavery, you can tell the story of creation. They know there's a Sabbath, and it was probably maybe kept to a certain extent back in the day, but they don't know anything about it now. But then all of a sudden this pops up, and so they get the first little pieces of rules, which is the most basic. It's about, what am I going to eat? I got to eat.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I'm hooking you up. So make more food on, well, in our day, Friday, that's going to last through your Saturday, through the Sabbath. And then Moses says, eat it today, because today is a Sabbath of the Lord. He repeats it. You will not find it today on the plain or out on the ground. 6 days shall you gather it, and on the seventh day, the Sabbath, there will not be any. And here we have a typical children of Israel thing. Still, some of the people went out on the seventh day to gather, but they didn't find anything. And God says to Moshe, he says, how long will you men refuse to obey my commandments and my teachings? Note that the Lord has given you the Sabbath. Therefore, he gives you 2 days' worth of food on the sixth day. So you're not supposed to go shopping in our modern equivalent. Or you don't go out to your apple tree and start picking apples because you're hungry. As such, you should have done it the Friday.
You don't cook, you don't boil anything.
Right.
You're supposed to have your food ready for the Sabbath, for Shabbat.
For the 24-hour period.
Yes. And it's not that hard if you think about it. The opposite, you get a day off from cooking and making, and you just don't, you rest.
You just
So
eat.
you just eat. The day before you make a double portion, and on Shabbat you rest. That's
Doesn't seem that hard.
yeah, it's not hard. We know that it's not hard because we follow it. We do it. But just a little note to people that in their minds it's difficult to keep Shabbat. It's not. It's and as it said, God gave it to you. It's a gift.
Yes.
It's for you. It's a day to rest, to renew yourself, to not do anything, to clear your mind. But that will come more in the next episodes. But now we're talking about the food, I guess.
Yeah.
How fun, mommies, to not cook on Shabbat. Just make a double portion on Friday.
Send the kid over to the kitchen. Get it yourself.
Yeah, it's okay to make a sandwich. No problem here. It's not cooking.
No, it's baking and cooking.
Yep.
So the preparation. But then God adds a little thing. He says, let everyone remain where he is. Let no one leave his place on the seventh day.
Stay at home. Rest.
Stay at home.
Chill.
Yeah, they were out gathering, which in a way they were gathering food, but in a way it could be anything. You're not supposed to really leave your house. And so the people were inactive on the seventh day. And so, well, what are we supposed to do? Nothing? Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, and for a slave, that's kind of difficult to
grasp.
To grasp. Do nothing. It's really cool to see how these parts it comes together. And you've been a slave, now you're not. You're getting food for free. You're getting a day of rest. You have God with you, protecting you all the time.
Yeah, so but when they do leave their house and are going out and being busy and whatever, God will get upset.
Yes.
And I guess everybody's different, but you know what? When you get into this rhythm of the Sabbath, I've noticed sometimes the Sabbath can be really long. You're actually doing nothing. You're not creating anything. You're not making anything. You're just kind of being. And it's a really smart solution, because what ends up happening, at least with me, and I've noticed a little bit with you, is we get restless towards the end of it, and you want to get going again. And man, when the first day of the week hits, woof, off you go. And you see it in Israel. The Sabbath, everything's quiet, everybody's home, there's not really driving, there's nothing going on.
Much less, yes.
Yeah. But then Saturday evening, an hour and a half after dark.
Right.
Wow, the shops open, everybody's out eating
bars,
ice cream.
The restaurants, everything just poof.
Families, everybody's out and it's like, oh.
It's like when you see those little clips of flowers blossom in a fast forward.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like everything is opening up and
people are
happy
full of energy.
And
so
even people that don't keep the Sabbath, but there is always this notion and feeling of, Shabbat is more of a laid down day in the land.
Yeah, and so and again, it's kind of important to remember, the 10 Commandments haven't come yet. This is before. They're still out in the bushes camping. And so it's cool. They're just.
I think it shows us the importance of Shabbat.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how pleasant it can be. You can make everything ready to just go pick and eat and lounge around for 24 hours and be together.
Yes. Be with the family, be at home. It doesn't mean you need to lock the door and no one gets out, but stay around your house and have a nice day. Okay.
Cool.
So
That is the Sabbath of the Israelites up until wandering in the desert before the Ten Commandments, just after they left Egypt.
Yep.
Okay, we hope you enjoyed this, and we'll
speak to you next time.
here's talking to you. Bye-bye.